Okay, it's on.
Oh, great stuff, Nia. How did it, do you want to come on, just how did it go? What did you create? I'm intrigued. Okay, let's get started. The aim tonight is to take some of the features that we did from the previous escape room and create it into an embedded one, which is a little bit bigger. Now, it does include a fair bit of planning for it. So, top tip for this one, what I would say is write it out beforehand. Get yourself a detailed plan. Because my theme for today is I'm going to try and create an escape room in the style of the kind of the crystal maze. Whether that works, we'll see. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sharing my screen. So hopefully you can see it. If you do have any questions, just pop them in the chat box, and if I don't catch it, hopefully somebody else will. So I'm going to start off by just using my PowerPoint, the desktop version for me. It's a lot simpler. And the first thing I want to do is my escape room is going to be based on 4 key areas and pages, which people are going to use. So those of you that may remember the Crystal Maze, remember there were 4 zones. So you had the Aztec, you had the ocean, you had the future, and you had the medieval with the final room. So my first room is going to be a beginning, and then I'm going to have each of these as a different zone for people to go into. So I need to create my backdrop for the first one. So the first one, I'm going to go in, I'm just going to take the basic map picture. So let's take that map picture there. Let me just open this up. So I'm just going to steal the picture from the internet. There we go. It's not going to let me take it, is it? See full size image. Well, that's useless. I'm going to paste this in. Now, what I want to have on this first one, because it's the escape room beginning, is I just want to have something where I can explain what they're going to be doing on this task. So let's put this in there. Now, last week we had our avatar, which in the video, if you've not seen how to put an avatar in, you can go back through that video. But my avatar, I'm going to have them in here. Let's take that one there. And I'm just going to copy him, and I'm going to put him into my, there he is. There's my little lad. So he's quite happy with that. Let's remove the background, which we learned how to do last week. Now, it doesn't always work, this one, I found. I think someone said last week you can do this, but it's a bit of a pain. So if you do need to remove the background off an image, you can just use remove.bg, and we can upload the picture. However, if you go into Bitmoji and you want to take a picture, what you can do is if you just save it, it will save it without the backdrop there. So let's just put there he is. Let's now drop him into my little thing. Fantastic. So what I want to do here is I want to put in the instructions for my students. Now, because of this escape room, unlike with the one on OneNote where you could input the words and you have the question, I need to have somewhere where the students can put their answers. So for this, I'm going to create a Microsoft form where they can update and put their answers in. So let's now put in our text box. So I'm going to have a little text box here where it's going to be complete challenges, add answers to document. Again, let's go to our nice drawing tools. There we go. But if we want, we can put a shape around it. Let's put a little speaking box from our guy. There we are. I'm having one of those days today where I can't find anything. There we are. Fantastic. So each of these rooms is going to be a different zone for the escape room. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Microsoft Forms. Now, you can do exactly the same feature if you want to use Google Forms. And we got a couple of options here that we can do. If we use as a form, the students provide the answer and it's not marked. If we do it as a quiz, if they spell a word incorrectly or something, it may come up as being wrong. So think about what you're going to use depending on the age group of your students, especially if you're using maybe technical words. I was looking for, like with the Aztec zone, if it's Machu Picchu, they may need to put a range of different spellings in there. They may miss capital letters and it will mark it as incorrect. So I'm just going to do it as a form. And on this form, let's call it Crystal Maze. So add your answers here. Now, when we go to add new, we can put in sections. And this is what we want, because for each section, I want it to be as a room. So there's a section. I'm going to add another section underneath. So section 2 is future. And then I have another section underneath that. So at least then the students know where to put each answer, and also it helps you when you come to mark it. And I'm going to put another section. And that one is going to be, I'm not even sure, I think that's just what it's called. Now, the great thing with having these sections is that underneath we can then put the questions there to help support. Now, in each of the rooms, my plan at the moment is to have 3 different puzzles using different digital skills for the students. So I can put in whether it's going to be a text answer. So say, for example, I'm going to have one of the questions as where is the building on the map? Okay, so I'm going to have that there. Now I'm just going to move that up, put it in the zone it's meant to be. And there's the first question. Now, the great thing with using the form again is that, the students can put in any answer underneath. It's not too worried about the spelling or capital letters, especially if it's quite difficult, or they may just misinterpret the question a little bit. You can still see they've put the answer correct on there. The next question I'm going to have for them is, can you solve by riddle? Once I've done that, again, I'm just going to put it back up in the zone where I want it to go. And then underneath that, I'm going to have another question, which is going to be, what's the word behind the QR code? There we go. Oh, I've done that wrong. I don't want it as an option question. I want it to have, set this up. Let me just delete that one. So it's always good when you come to add the question, add new, and it's text. What's the word behind the QR code? There we go. So I've got my first room now to build. I've got the first 3 areas for the students. Now, what I can do is from here, I'm going to go to share. Now, if it's share to collaborate, but I want people just to respond. So at the moment with my link, I've now got it where anyone with the link can respond. So if you are using, if they've only got access to Google Teams, if I change that to anyone with a link, they can access that now. So I'm going to go to copy, and then I'm going to go back to my original zone. Now I want to put an object here where they can click on it and it takes them straight to the form. So if I just go to, let's go to my Google Images, and I'm just going to say answer form. I might get a nice picture there. That looks good. Okay, they look dreadful. Let's go answer form document. There we go. That'll do. So I'm going to save that image. Let's get rid of the background so it looks nice and neat. Is that the picture? Nope. It's completely the wrong picture. Let's go to nope, that's the wrong one. Oh, I'm just going to drag the file actually. There it is. I was wondering where it had gone. And now I'm going to download it. And now it's downloaded, I can put that onto my PowerPoint. There we go. Now what you may want to do for this first page is maybe put a little arrow there saying click on the picture. You can give some instructions. So I'm going to right hand click on this. I'm going to go to hyperlink, and I'm going to put in the link for my link to the form. So now if it does get presented, all the student will do is they'll click on that file, and that will take them to the answer form, which they keep open, and they can then put their bits and pieces in here. Now the great thing, again, we're using Microsoft Forms over Google Forms if you get the chance. It goes back to the accessibility feature, the fact that you have got immersive reader. So if need be, oh actually hang on, I've put the speed settings up there. So if the students do need to have a little bit of support, if they do need it, it can also translate it for them. So if they do want to have it in Welsh, it will translate it for them. So that's one of the good things with using immersive Google Forms over Microsoft Forms over Google Forms. Let's put our next room in here. So the next room we said was the Aztec Room. So I'm going to get myself a nice background picture. So let's go. Aztec background. There we go. Copy that. Because we want to give it this theme to kind of hit with the idea of it being this kind of zone that we have. Let's take our little avatar again. So we're going to go back to the Bitmoji. Save him. I'll put him on my. You can go there. Now in this room, I want to have 3 different puzzles. I want to have one which is a QR code. I want to have one which is a recorded piece of audio for them to listen to. And I want to have one that's related to Google Earth. So I'm going to have this atlas here as my Google Earth one. Now, if you go to your browser and type in Google Earth, this is a really kind of great tool that is available online for people to use. And if you've not played around with it much, Google Maps is very great, but Google Earth allows you to explore, and it's got like a built-in encyclopedia for people to access. So if I just let this load. Here we go. So what you can do with Google Earth is it's got a 3D capability. So you can, again, you can click and you can drop in, you can go into the towns very much like you could with your Google Maps, but it's also got some really great detailed settings for other places. So say, for example, we are going to take them to Machu Picchu. There we go. It will take me all the way over there. And the great thing with it, you've got these 3D scale models for them to play around with. And the benefit, again, is that they can click on all of these links, and all of these links in it are interactive. You can also take your little man, and you can drop him in. So say we're going to drop him here to the old city gates. There we go. And we can see these people here. What we can do is we can walk and we can look around different places. So if you're doing a project on different parts of the world, you want to take them there, this is a great way of including it. Now, what we can do here is we can create a link straight to this part here. So say, for example, the question was, where in the world am I? We can just copy the link, go back to our little map, go hyperlink, and we're just going to put that address in. There we go. So now when the students see our screen, all they do is they click on the globe and it will take them to the place that we've put in there. So you can do it for quite a number of things. I did it for, if you were doing one on local castles or other places of interest. And the great thing, again, it gives students that link to somewhere where they can play around, they can look at it. There's some fantastic features within Google Earth, which I really do rate over just using basic Google Maps. So they can click out of it. It's a great little tool. So we got our first puzzle in there. The next one, I said I wanted the QR code generator. So let's try and think of a thing that we want to have here. So I'm going to go back to my Google Images. Let's put a scroll, because I want something which will work as a link for them to click on. So let's take, that's a great picture. So I'll save that image. Let's remove the background from it. Download it. And we'll put it onto. Now you still want there to be a slight element of challenge to it. So you can have it as something just hidden in the background, but they've got to find it. Now, I sent out a few weeks ago, I will put the link back in the chat box, a link to all of my tools that I use for the escape rooms. So I'll just put that in the chat box, but one of them is the QR code generator. So I'll just put the link in there for anyone who didn't have that Padlet link. So on this Padlet link here, my QR code generator, there it is. Fantastic. I can generate a product. So say, for example, I want it to have a word that appears, and say the word is, let's go for Aztec. Now that's created a QR code for me, which I can just download. Now, this one here, you've got to pay for. However, if you just go to your snipping tool, you can sign up for it, and it's not too bad. But I'm just going to take the snipping tool. I'm going to go to new, and I'm just going to cut it. There we go. So I've now got my QR code, which if you hover your phone over it or use a QR code app on phone, that word Aztec will now appear. Just seeing how many people are trying it. Fantastic. So I'll just keep that there. Now I've got to find a way of getting that QR code onto my PowerPoint here via the use of the link. And the easiest way of doing this is through using Google Jamboard, I found. The thing I like about Google Jamboard is the simplicity of it. And I can create quite a few of these. So I'm going to create one here, just a basic one, where I can take my image. So I'm going to copy it. It doesn't like that. And I'm going to insert it into this document here. So I can add an image. I can upload it. So let's take it from my desktop. Now I've put this on here, so I'm going to always kind of good to remember what it is. So Escape Room 1. Now what I want to do is I want to go to the share. Now at the moment it's private only to me, but I'm going to change this to anyone with the link can view. That means they can't edit it, they can only see it. I'm going to copy that link, go back to my original PowerPoint, right-hand click on the scroll, again with a hyperlink, and I can paste in that link now. So students come on it, click on the scroll, and that will take them to the next part of the challenge, which is the Jamboard with the QR, which they can then scan on their phone and get access to. So it adds that second layer of challenge for them. The next bit I wanted to use was an audio recording. So I'm going to find myself a background picture. I'm going to have let's take an old gramophone. Fantastic. It doesn't like that. Just want a picture. Go. Remove the background from it. And we're going to put that on my PowerPoint. So one of the other bits of software which I may need to add to here, I haven't added on here yet, is a piece of software called Vocaroo. Now the thing I like about Vocaroo, one, it's simplicity of use, and two, you can record online and then you can create a share link to it. So you could have a question on there that you can answer. The good thing as well is you can also use it to add, if you wanted to have audio instructions for each page of rather than text, you can record them and put them in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to record a very short piece of audio, which may involve one of the puzzle questions for the students, and then stop. Now, once I've recorded this, I go save and share. It gives me the option of either a QR code or embed. I can download it as an MP3 file, but I just want that link because that will fit better with my slide. I go to my gramophone, again, go to the hyperlink, and I can paste the audio recording. So now if I go to my zone page, I click on the picture of the gramophone, and there you've got my audio recording now as one of the quiz questions on there. Again, the benefit of using that is that you can have it to explain each room as it goes through. So you may want to have the link on your little avatar and have a little thing saying, you know, the next zone will be, and give a bit more information. Before I move on to the next step, is there any bits of that you'd like any explanation or further help with at all? Oh, thank you, Debbie. Okay, so there's one question there. When using PowerPoint through Hub, through Office Tools, I cannot hyperlink. Yeah, this is why I use the desktop one. So if I'm doing the PowerPoint in this method, try and use the desktop version of it. For some reason, the hyperlinks are a lot better and there's no problems with it. With the recording, I think the longest I've recorded is 10 minutes, but I'm not sure if there is actually a length of time that you can record for. I've never really tested it, but it's something for me to find out. Okay, so let's build the next room.
Hey, Julian, sorry, you're not sharing your screen.
I know.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just getting there. No, sorry. So one of the things we need to look at now is our next room. We've got our 3 questions here. And in the future room, I want to use 3 other different questions. So I'm going to click on this section and I'm going to add my new question. So I'm going to have, I want to have a YouTube video. I want to have one which is a barcode math quiz. And then I want to have one which is another question between 2 people for them to solve and answer to. So I can have what is discussed in YouTube in the video. I'll add another one, which is how much is the shopping? And I'm going to have another one, which is what should they do in this situation? So I've now got my next set of questions for people to answer. Okay, I'm not sure why your hyperlinks didn't work there. It shouldn't be really any problem. Many apologies, the dog's having a moment. Steve? Thank you. I'm not sure why the hyperlink shouldn't work. What may be worth doing is just having a chat afterwards, Rhiannon. Using Forms Share, anyone can respond even on the Google programs, as long as when you come to the share link here, you set it as anyone with a link can respond. So they don't need to log into it then. So our next background we want to look at is, I said, was the future crystal maze zone. And what we do is we'll save that image. We'll go back to our PowerPoint. So here's our next room for us. I have no idea why I saved that picture to. Don't know. It's fantastic. Again, when you come to do yours, hopefully you'll use much better looking pictures than I did there. Let's put a little avatar in there because we like to have them in there. What it does is it just makes it a little bit easier for the students. They kind of recognize and they get used to you. There we go. So we'll save him. This is why I like using the Bitmoji, because you can get them for different characters for different rooms and bits and pieces. Now, the barcode one I like is it's another feature that's on the escape room tools. And this is on the free receipt maker. It's a great way of getting some kind of interactive maths in there for the students. So what I'm going to do here with this website, I can add items in. So let's take some previous items that were there. So I've previously written these in, so it's kind of remembered them for me. Fantastic. So we'll update it. Hopefully it's put the price in for me. Now, once you've created this, what it will do, change it to the pound sign, you can just click and you can download it. If you take a little bit more time with it and put the actual details in, it will be useful. Now, again, I'm going to use Jamboard for this because it's the easiest one I find for sharing once you've written some bits and pieces on there as opposed to some other software. So I just create the Jamboard. Let's call it Escape Room 2. And I'm going to download my picture, which should be in my download section. Probably doesn't like that. Just for ease, I'm just going to throw it onto my desktop so I remember where it is. Add my picture. This is where I completely lose where everything is. There it is. Again, the other good thing about using something like the Jamboard is that I can add more written instructions on there. So add up the total shop place. So I can save that, put that where I want. Again, when I go to the share, make sure that it's restricted. So only I can change it to anyone with the link, but I can have it here that only the viewer. If that says editor, it means I can go in and change it, which kind of ruins it for other people. We'll copy the link, go back to our PowerPoint that we have. Let's get a picture that we want for that background there. Let's take that picture there. We can insert this. Don't know why I've picked that picture. And there we've now got the little presentation there. We've got that bit in. Now, the next bit I wanted to do was to showcase the Morse code tool. I quite enjoyed this one, but for this one I'm going to use Padlet as opposed to using Jamboard. And I'm going to kind of show why with that one. So the Morse code one, which is on here, is a great way of getting some kind of puzzles for students to play with. So on the escape room board, I've put on there the Morse code translator. And what you can do with this, I can put a word in there. So say the spaceship. that might be quite difficult. But with this Morse code translator, it doesn't just create it as an output, which is physical, it creates it with sound. There we go, lovely. And what I can do is I can download that as a WAV file. Now, if I try to put that WAV file onto Jamboard, it doesn't work. But if I do it with Padlet, I can create a brand new wall and I can input, once I've actually created the board, always helps. I can input the audio file and it will play within my Padlet board. Now what I can do here, because I've got it on a Padlet, I can add other things around it. So it can be, what is the word? I can take this as text. So I can copy that, go to my Padlet. Well, I don't like that actually, it's a bit too small. There we go. Now that's a little bit difficult for them potentially to see, so it may be worth kind of making it a little bit bigger. Can I edit it and make it a bit larger? So what you may want to do is have a link to the word itself. So if I hide the message text and then go share, I can get a copy link here. Go back to it. Let's put a link in here and save. So now the students can just click on that and it will show them the thing. Now, what I would also advise doing, if you are going to do it, you can put in. So if you go to Google, look for Morse code, you can actually just download the image of what the alphabet is and then input that into the Padlet, which is always quite useful. There we go. Now we just go then to share. Now we can have here, we can change the privacy levels, and this is if you're going to share it. So we can have it as private, not private, we want to have it password protected. So you can put a password in there and you can have it as they can read only. So you may want to put a password on there because it means that none of the students can go in and delete elements of it. So if you say to them, for this link, make sure you put a password on. So say the password is ship. There we go. If I copy the link, go back now to our PowerPoint, we're going to put in the picture. So for the sake of this, I'm just going to put in a shape. And I'm going to add the hyperlink. There we go. So now when the students click on that blue one, it will take them to the Padlet. I'm already logged in, so it will let me see it, but they have access to all of the elements to add the next password in for them. Now, with something like the YouTube one, you've got quite a lot which you can do with straight away. So we have looked at using EduPuzzle, which some people have used. So EduPuzzle, if you've not played around with it yet, I really do recommend, because what you can do here with EduPuzzle is you can take an existing YouTube video and you can drop a YouTube video in, you can put questions into it. So let's say, I'm going to put this video here in. All we do is we copy the web address, put into search content, and this will then, I'm going to shut this down. It will create a video for us, which we can put little mini questions on. So in a way, you can have an assessment within an assessment. Let's put a question. So I can put a multiple choice question. Actually, let's just change it to open-ended. There we go. And continue. Fantastic. And once that's done, we'll then just click finish. We can assign it to our groups. Now, what we do is we assign it in Edpuzzle to a different department that we have. But for us, for the purpose of this, we just want to be able to then share it and get the copy link. And that's key, really. So once we've got the copy link, the difference between Visio and Edpuzzle is Edpuzzle, I think, it just gives you a few more options with it. It gives you a little bit more access to play around, and the reports is a lot clearer than with Visio. Visio is a great piece of free software, which you don't really have to sign up. But I like Edpuzzle from it's just a little bit more streamlined and professional in relation to Visio. So that's why I've changed over, really. Let's go to our final little one. Again, with this, it's all just a matter of adding different hyperlinks in to our character, and we can have that through. Okay. Now, we've got, at the moment, we've got our different zones. We've got our forms in there. We've got our Google Earth. We've got the recording. We've got the maps. We've got the video. We've got the shopping list. We've got the Morse code. And you can do absolutely loads with this, and you can play around with it. The next one I want to look at, I'm going to put in my next room for you. So the next room that we had was ocean. So let's go to ocean. Using some pretty poor pictures, so I do want to make sure these are a lot better. And what you can do from here is have a link to the quiz papers, which I quite liked on Google Forms. So maybe you want to have a little bit more of an in-depth one. Now on Microsoft Forms, we've looked at creating the basic ones here, but maybe you want to create as well to have a actual physical quiz inside it. So I'm just going to go on to Microsoft Forms, and I'm going to create a quiz. Now with this one, the great thing is it auto marks for them, and you can have it as one of the last questions is the crystal maze. I can add a range of questions in here. So what is the capital? It's always good to have a bit of a review and recap, just to kind of go through it. Actually, have they learned, or are they merely just moving through the rooms as quickly as possible? And they put their answers in. Don't know why I picked that one. I'm terrible with capitals. Okay. Don't know why I put all those as the correct ones. I like to put both of the different variations on there, especially if they, again, depending on the level of the learner. What you can also do with this one is it doesn't just have to be a written question. I can have it as a text, and I can add a picture. So if you have a picture that you've used previously, so I can upload one from the computer. So I can have this and go, put my question in, and they put the answer in there. Fantastic. Again, share this one. Anyone with the link, copy it, go back to my page. So whichever image you've got, you're just adding hyperlinks the whole way through, and you've got that. Now, at the moment, our presentation looks very nice, but we want to have it so the students can't play around with it, they can't mess with it. We want to do what's called embedding it, so it's a lot clearer and easier for them to see. Now, once we've made our presentation, we're going to save it. So I'm just going to save it to my computer, makes it easier for me. So we'll call this one Crystal. So I've saved my desktop version, and I'm going to now upload it to my OneDrive online, because what I want to get is I want to make sure I have an embedded view for online. So I'm going to find where I saved it, which I can't see. There we go. And this is now being uploaded to my OneDrive. Now I can open it from here on the main page, and that looks lovely. But what I want to do is I want to now make sure I can edit the document. I want to have it up embedded. You can upload it to Teams and Use first, but what I would do is I'd do this first, if that's okay, Riam. So once you've opened it on OneDrive, looks like this. So this is your online one. What you're then going to do is you're going to go to the URL at the top of the page. And if you scroll along, you will see where it says action equals. And we're going to delete everything after action equals. And we're going to type in embed view. Now, what this will do is it will change it so that now, rather than being one where the student can't mess around with it, it's now an embedded document. So they can click between and go between the rooms, and they can access the hyperlinks. So they can click on the little person, there they go, and it takes them to all the things that we've set up. Now this embedded view one, that's absolutely ginormous, that web address. So we want to do a few things with this. I will show that bit again, certainly. So if I go to, let's go back to my earlier PowerPoint. So I've just opened it on my OneDrive, and I'm going to scroll along. So at the top to where it says action equals. And I want to get rid of everything after action equals. And I'm going to type in embed, E-M-B-E-D, V-I-E-W, embed view. Press return. Now, if you don't have a OneDrive, you can get one for free with Microsoft, and it may be a good idea just to get these links up, really. Now, what we do is once we've got this link here, we can do a few things with it. So I'll just type embed view. So we can take this URL. So I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go to a website. It's called TinyURL. And what this will do, this will shorten, if we've got a really long web address, so this one here is a really long web address, and it will make it an absolutely tiny one for us and make it a lot easier for us to see. So now it's turned it into this one here, which I can copy. So if I now put that web address into my web bar, there we go. It is now created my embedded PowerPoint escape room, in which the students can click on each page to the form. They can go back through, they can go through all the different zones. They can access the material that we've put on there. And it's quite a lot of different things for them. It's always really useful. And that's how you create an embedded PowerPoint presentation escape room. What you can do is, say for example, you want to send this out to students. If we go to Google Classroom, once we've got that URL, so say we're doing this on Google Classroom, we can set it as an assignment. So let's go to set an assignment. We'll go to create, and we can just add a link. And we can just copy that link in there. And the great thing with this, once they've got that link, they don't have to type anything in. All they have to do is they have to click on that box. If they click on that box, there we go. It will take them to your setup created room for them. And that's exactly the same with Microsoft as well. You can, if you're doing it as a Word document or you're sending it to them as an email, what's always good to do is you go, click here to access the escape room. And again, highlight the text, right-hand click hyperlink. So you can do that on emails as well. So then all the student has to do is control and click, whether they're doing it on, I've got to log in. You can do it on an email, you can do it on PowerPoint. So it's got full access for them. Can I put the Crystal Maze theme tune on the first slide? Yes. This is where you're going to test me. If I find it, I win a prize. There we go. So can I now download that? So I've downloaded that theme tune. Let's go to my Crystal Maze PowerPoint. Insert audio. Okay. So yeah, you can add audio as well and have that in there. So that works an absolute treat. Now with slides, Rachel's asked a great question. She said they needed a code to move between each room. Can the same thing be done with slides? It can't with slides. This is why I use OneNote for that. The thing I liked with using this PowerPoint one, I think it's a little bit clearer and easier. And the OneNote one you can use for more advanced level students who are quite happy with more text-based. This image one is a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more user-friendly. But the thing is, they've still got to go between all the rooms. They've still got to add the answers. And because they can put the answers into the Microsoft Forms, you really do see the success level. Yeah, Patricia, it is being recorded. It will be put on YouTube. It is a huge amount, so I do apologize for the large amount, but you'll be able to stop it and go back through. Well, thank you for that for tonight. Hopefully there's lots on there which will be beneficial for you and you'll have some really great videos. If you do have any real success or any problems, please do email, because it's really nice to hear how stuff is being used and it's being beneficial, and hopefully your students will enjoy it. The great thing with this, once you've made the basic frame, you can go in and all you have to do is just change the questions now and again. I've seen some great examples where someone was doing I saw like a history one, and you can have different zones, you can have different bits and pieces, and yeah, it's really useful. So if you have any questions, put them in the box. If not, thank you very much for coming along tonight, and I hope you have a great end of year. if I shared the PowerPoint straight to Google Classroom without embedding, what can the pupils do with it? They can play around with it and they can edit all the stuff, and the hyperlinks won't work for them. So you've got to have it do that embed view first, then share the link once it's got that embed view bit in. Because then when they click the link, it just comes up as just as slides, very much like it would with PowerPoint Viewer, but all the hyperlinks work. So, thank you. I hope that's been useful. Is there certificates, Beth?
Sorry, I should unmute myself. Yes, there will be.
At least if the YouTube one, they can slow it down a little bit, because I think I had more. Just wanted to keep going and going.
Yeah. Is there a session next week? Oh, Debbie, not next week. After Christmas, Julian, if you fancy coming back.
We had loads of ideas. Yeah, loads of stuff. Yeah, I think we had about 4 or 5 different things. So yeah, definitely. Again, what's really beneficial is when I think Beth sent out the questionnaire of what sort of things do you need, because that's the best way to do it. So find those gaps, find those ideas, even if it's just I know I wouldn't mind being able to do this, then it gives me something to go away and go, okay, well, can we do that? Can we work it? It's the best way for it. The escape rooms just came from, we did an escape room for our Christmas party last year, and I wanted a different way of having a test. So it's literally going, how can I make a test different? So if you have anything like that at all, just say, and we can make it. So how's Jules doing over there, Beth?
Jules, I don't know. Jules is fine. He's been watching everything that you've been doing. So he's kept me company.
Just have one on there about Flipgrid. Have we got the Flipgrid video on there?
Oh, I would say so. There are quite a few videos up there, and I think we've posted most of them, but we may have missed 1 or 2.
If not, I'll have a hunt and see. We did do Flipgrid in the summer, but again, I can always look at that and embed it with something else.
Yeah.
Because we did a whole session on interactive videos where we looked at Animoto, and we looked at Flipgrid, and we looked at what Powtoons. That was it. We did Powtoons, Flipgrid, and Animoto. So.
Okay, well, it's all good stuff, because I know in the I can't remember what we discussed, but there's other stuff that we've already kind of half discussed that you might think about running in January. So but yeah, we're going to be taking a little bit of a break now between now and Christmas, and then we'll look to start up again kind of towards the end of January-ish, maybe. That gives people a chance to get back into.
But any stuff you make and you're happy to share with us, it would be really great for us to see and go, okay, it's working, because we've had some really good positive stories so far, so that's much appreciated. So brilliant. We have to do our end of 90s TV wave, and
Yeah.
thank you, Patricia.
There's an awful lot of people still on, so it's
they're all asleep.
I don't think so. I didn't sleep. I made notes all the way through that one.
It's that embed view bit at the end.
The sharing bit, yeah.
Because if you don't do that, it's you'll share it. The students can go in and just move everything, and it's a nightmare. What would be good, Rhiannon, if you try it using the method I used, see if that works. Which Google Classroom do we share on, please? What's probably best, you can share it to me or just pop it to my email address or Beth's email address, because it gives me something more interesting to read in my email inbox than what I've got in there at the moment. Brilliant. Well, what we'll do, Beth, we'll get in contact about anything you want for next year.
Yeah.
We'll get some
Yeah.
ideas. I think it might be worth doing another little questionnaire out just to see what.
Yeah. I've made a note of that.